There's a new list to talk about, as Hank says in the flyby every day. The summer is for lists. And the NHL Network was kind enough to grace us with the top 20 wingers right now. And coming in at number 20 is our guy, Travis Konecny, of the brand new 8-year contract. Comes in right behind Alex Ovechkin. A few notable names left off the list: Jesper Bratt, Chris Kreider, Brock Besser, Mark Stone, among others. Matt Barzal, people were like, he did switch to wing. Maybe he should be on there.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks like a fairly, I don't have a ton of problem with the list. I think some people took exception to Alex Ovechkin, and it's like, listen, man, he's going to be on the list. I don't know what to tell you. Like, until he drops dead, he's out there. And he did have a really good second half of the season. But just overall thoughts on the list, then maybe we'll get into TK.
I think the haters are in shambles, which always makes me happy. It's one of those things. I feel like we have a tendency as Flyers fans to both overvalue and undervalue like every single player on our team, just based on like the weather and the wind and things like that. And I think that since Travis Konecny was due a big contract that a lot of people didn't want to give him, a lot of Flyers fans just decided that he sucked, which he doesn't. And so it's kind of nice every now and again to just have like a little bit of like outside reinforcement that like, yes, this good player on your team is actually good. In case you forgot.
It's actually good.
So, you know, yeah. Everybody else thinks so too. It's not just us.
And I guess it is a nice way to just encapsulate, yes, he's a first line winger. Like, if he's the best player on your team, if he's driving line one, no, that's not good. But he is a first line winger. Like, hopefully he's playing on the second line for us at some point, because Matvei Michkov is that goddamn good, and we fill out our top six in a way that can compete with the other Stanley Cup contenders. But based on production, based on league-wide perception, any metric you want, he's a first-line winger.
Yep.
No, I do think so. Whether he should be ranked 20th, I think this is the right range for Konecny.
Yeah.
Whether he should be 20th or 23rd or 18th, I think you can have a reasonable conversation, but this is the right range. I suspect that he got a little bit of a list boost because he got the contract, because suddenly everyone, not just in Philadelphia, but everyone in the hockey world had to engage with the concept of Travis Konecny in a way that they didn't have to with like a Mark Stone. You know, Konecny was a topic of conversation this summer, so people were able to look at him that aren't in Philadelphia and say, yeah, he's a good player. I don't know if he ranks 20th if he doesn't get that contract, because I just don't think he's on the minds of national people in the same way that he is always on the minds of Flyers fans, because he's the biggest guy. So makes sense other, but he very much deserves to be in this range, in this like 18 to 25 range. That feels right for Konecny. And I agree with Kelly that one of the things that was nice about seeing him on this list was less about like, oh yeah, this validates the fact that, you know, that he is a great player, whatever. It is nice because sometimes you hear from the Travis Konecny detractors in the Flyers fan base. I see this on Twitter quite a lot from people I mentioned, that the only reason why you think that Travis Konecny is good is because he's a Flyer. He's actually not that good. If he was on any other team, he wouldn't be that good. You wouldn't think he was that good. And it is nice to have outside validation that, like, no, it's not just that because we watch Travis Konecny, we think he's good. There are lots and lots of other people who are just general hockey observers who agree that Travis Konecny is actually a first-line caliber winger. So, no, it's not that we are hopelessly biased because, oh, we got the orange tinted glasses on. Like, no, national people think he's good too. You know why? Because objectively speaking, he is actually very good.
Yeah, that's I do like the idea, like, everyone had to engage with the idea of Travis Konecny, like, especially the time of year he signed the contract. If you do any semblance of hockey content, it's like, oh man, here's like a third of the show. What the hell else are we going to do? You know? So they all had to at some point, like, bring up Travis Konechny's hockey reference and be like, yeah, all right. I realize I realize scoring is up and like 50, 60 points, 30 goals is not what it was a few years ago. But at what point did back-to-back 30-goal seasons become like, oh, yeah, he's not that good? Like, it's scoring goals is the only – our whole tenure as Flyers fans, like, they just need someone who can put the fucking puck in the net. Is he just scoring 50? No. But give him a center and he's like a 40-goal scorer probably. He's doing this with nobody on his line. Like, I've been like, I don't think it's the best idea in the world to re-sign Travis Konecny for 8 years. Rebuild. I want the mystery box. Like, give me, maybe it'll be a Konecny, you know? But that doesn't take, like, that's just what the timeline is in my head. I recognize he's a very good player. That's part of why I wanted to trade him, so that they could get good stuff in return that maybe is the same age as Cam York, you know? That's just my thought process here. But I was happy to see he made the list. Whether, like Charlie said, he's 18, he's 23, he's in this range, right? Like, this is very much Travis Konecny is, if not a top 20, well within the top 25 wingers, I would say, like, easily. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the list before we do the other fun stuff today? The Jamie Drysdale doom and gloom.
Are people really mad that Ovi's on the list? Like,
people are just like, you know, based on the guys they left off, maybe he can, like, he's just not that anymore. But I don't know, man. Scoring
he's
a lot
Alex
of goals.
Ovechkin. Like, if you put together a list of the top 20 centers in the league, Sidney Crosby's going to be on it until he retires. Doesn't matter what he does, and that's kind of how it should be. Like,
no, like if
Crosby
were to get hurt and miss all of next season, the list going into the following season, he should be on it still. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
these guys, like, they just are this way. Kuch, I thought maybe
Alex Ovechkin, like, he might break the goal record next season. It is possible. Okay, like, this is a guy who very well could, by this time next year, we are talking about him as the guy who has scored the most goals in NHL history. Like, he's going to be on a top 20 wingers list. It's just the fact. It's just reality. Sorry.
He'd already have it and now be lapping the field if not for his entire rookie year was locked out, a short season lockout in 13, and 2 COVID shortened seasons. Like, he'd already have it. He needs 40 goals. You telling me in basically 2 full seasons that he's missed, from no fault of his own, he wouldn't score 40? Like, come on. So, Kucherov at 1 seems right to me. I was like, maybe Kachuk's a little high, but when you look at the playoffs, it's like, can you overrate this guy? Like,
people are obsessed with him.
They are very much obsessed with him.
He is the guy.
He's the platonic ideal of what hockey men want hockey players to be.
Yeah, he is.
To be fair, in this particular case, are they wrong? I'm not sure they're wrong.
He's a super fun player. I'm just saying, like he plays big, he plays physical, he goes to the net, he chirps, like, he does all the things that like make hockey people just like jump up and down. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's not great. He is great, but he's great. Like David Pastrnak is an awesome player, and I think you can make a case that David Pastrnak is a better player than Matthew Tkachuk. David Pastrnak does not play the way that hockey men, which every player played.
And he just simply and it's just simply not like, at some point, if the only thing that ever matters is winning the cup or not, like, you kind of got to put a little bit of stock into the dude who just won the East twice and walked away with the cup this past summer. Like, it did happen. And that playoff performance 2 years ago when they lost in the final, that was very special. Like, he just kept scoring big goals.
Yeah.
He was absolutely amazing in that one. A little bit more of a team effort this year, I thought, but it's still, like, he's Matt Tkachuk. He is like the straw that stirs the drink over there. As much as everyone loves Barkov and he finally gets his recognition and everything, like, it's Tkachuk. So that's that list. I thought it was fine. Honestly, we've done a bunch of lists, like, looked at some this year, and feel like the consensus has been pretty good. Like, there's not the lists haven't been overly hot takey, at least the ones that I've seen. Like, if it's oh yeah, Alex Ovechkin at 19, he should be 26. Like, okay, well, he's Alex Ovechkin, so
bonus points for being Alex.
He gets 10 points. Yeah, like he's that guy. I'm actually pretty pleased. I was like, okay, I'm cool with this.
It's a reasonable list.
I liked the arguments over Robertson. Some people going, actually, he should be like 2 or 3, and other people going, you're crazy, he should be 10. Like there was a lot of back and forth on Robertson, but that was pretty much it. It was a pretty, okay, that's a good list.
We all silly like the mayor.